First, there's been as long as there's been anthropology and as long as there's been people studying cultures, there's been this debate about whether cultures are static. Is making a case for why we can see how people in Mali and Senegal do the same thing, are inventive, are creative, are willful about blending and changing their cultures as their circumstances have changed over many centuries. Of a few centers, we find very few people who are converted to Islam. With the exception of centers of commerce like Timbuktu and Mopti, which are, remember, the jumping off points for the transoceanic travels across the Sahara. With the exception of these places, the best estimates on how many people were already Muslim by, say, the middle of the 1800s is anywhere from 5 to 15%. And those folks tended to be political elites and people involved in business. The crucial point here is that for your ordinary person in Mali and Senegal and much of the West African Sahel, this region here, Islam is really, as a lived, experiential, day-to-day part of your life, and as a set of religious dogmas, Islam is pretty new, like about a century or a little bit more than a century old. And this, to a great extent, explains why Islam is the way it is here. More tolerant of gender difference, more tolerant of the equality of women, more blended with traditional religions. On this slide, before I move on, the reason why in the period roughly from 1100 to about 1600, those 500 years, you have a series of very large and powerful empires right down here in the Sahel, roughly centered on Mali, into Senegal, and down into Burkina Faso and the countries nearby. The reason why you have a series of big, powerful states there is because these states collected taxes on the export of gold, cola nuts, ivory, slaves, and other commodities, and collected import taxes on these commodities. And that enabled them to become rich and powerful. So rich and powerful that one of the first maps made by Portuguese explorers in 1444, one of those, and I wish I had a picture of it for you here, one of those stylized maps, you know, with drawings of the wild animals and crazy things that you find there, has a picture right about here of Mansa Musa.